Hi, in this video I'm going to explore Dreamweaver CC, Dreamweaver Creative Cloud, the new version, and specifically looking at what is called the CSS Designer. So in this case I'm going to create a new page, and you can see it's already set up to be HTML5. I'm going to put in a title, always a good habit. Next thing I always try to do is save my page. And so for me, I have a place called websites, and I'm going to create a folder, CSS Fun. Going to name it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new site. And I'm not going to add the server information right now. Okay. Alright, now I'm done with all the prompting. So you'll definitely notice that Dreamweaver CC is different than CS6 in some specific ways. In other ways, it's pretty much the same, right? I mean, you have your basic design view, code view, split view, live view. You have the property inspector, right? You can toggle from HTML to CSS. That's all the same. And over here, these options you have, right? These windows, just like CS6 and many versions before, but they've done something really different with cascading style sheets and how they support it with this new CSS designer. So this is brand new to me. I've just looked at it, so you're going to see me fumble through it as we try to create a basic page. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Insert, and I'm going to add a header tag. All right. After that, I'm going to add a section tag, and I'm doing this fast, so I'm hoping it gets it right. And and a footer tag. You notice that I'm in split view, so I can see the header, section, footer. And I'm just gonna change this text because I think it works better to kind of see the basic idea. All right. So now with header, if I click on, I like to click down here and make sure the tag's selected. Now you'll notice up here, the first thing you want to do is identify your source. Do you want to create a new CSS file, attach an existing, or define in the page? And so define in the page is, if I click that, it's basically going to put the CSS at the top of the page and the head tag, right? And so you'll see that up here. Head, opening, closing. And this works great if you have a one-page website. But if you have anything more than that, you really want to always think about putting it in an external page. So let's hit header, go to source, create a new file, and I'm going to call this fun.css. And I'm going to put it in a folder called CSS. I'm going to do that once more, fun CSS. Hit save. Right, so let's make sure I did that right. Fun.css. Right, and hit OK. So what it's done is it's linking to my CSS file, which I put in a folder called CSS. And up here you can see I can toggle back and forth. And I can take a look just like with Dreamweaver CS6. So now that I have this, I'm going to click header. And I've already decided my source. Media I'm not going to worry about. So now it's really playing with selectors and properties. Right? And so with this selected, okay, so it's wanting me once more to So I already have it here, so let's see what it's. Is it gonna? Okay, now it's linked, right? So I created it, and now I had to do that again. I'm not sure why, but I can see it says Fun CSS. That's where I want to put it. That looks great. So I'm going to click on Selector. Okay, so what I was doing was I was hitting the plus sign and nothing was really happening. So now if I click on that, I can see that because I have this selected, it says body header. I want to actually just do my header. So I'm going to make that a little different. And if I click on this now, right, so you can, I'm going to double click up here, go back here. So what I want to do is you can tell I'm not used to this because I keep doing it wrong there, right? So it's in CSS, that looks great, fun.css. I'm going to do the header, and now I have my properties. And so this is where I can go down and I can change some of this stuff. So I'm going to change this to pixels, 960. Right? Height I'm going to leave the same. I'm not going to do any minimum width height. You'll do a lot of that if you're doing a flexible grid system type of thing where you want a site to be great with mobile. So then here it tries to walk me through, well, what I really want my margin to be. So, I could change this to 10. And as always, if you're comfortable hand coding, right, you can always go back over here, right, and you can just type this in. Okay, so now, it's like I could do the same thing moving on down. But what I want to do, if I go back here, you'll notice that, all of a sudden this margin, the bottom, I don't think I want that anymore. So I'm going to change that to 0, right? And I could do the same thing with section, right? So make sure section is selected. And once again, it's up. See, so now if I click on the gray, I can click fun, right? And I want to do section. So we'll do that. Let's move this down a little. So it doesn't want to do it that way. Oh, there we go. So I have section, once again, 960. Alright, so pixels, 960. Move on down. I'm going to leave this as is. I want it to float left. And I'm going to do my background color is that. Actually, that's my font. So my font I'm going to do is that. Moving on down, you'll see all these different options. And this is something that, they're essentially trying to make it easier for you to use their editor. Now, if you're new to Dreamweaver or web development, this might be great. If you're experienced, you might find this frustrating. But see, with my CSS selected over here, I can just copy this for section, right, and drop this down. And so in this case, I'm going to do 0 top margin, right? And so for this last one, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way of hand coding in. And once again, you can always copy, speed things up. And I have to remember that closing curly brace. Right? And so just like that, I was able to do some basic things with CSS. Now, if I want to click on the body, once again, I have to click the source. Right? It's not coming up, so I'm going to hit plus sign. There's body. Okay, that looks good. So now, with body selected, let's try this again. Let's hit enter. All right, there we go. Drag this up. So with body, now you notice up here I have different things here where I can quickly go through here. So for my background color, for my page, I could decide to make it maybe a dark, right? So now I'm going to do the same thing with my header. And then I'm going to do, let's go with some Broncos colors here. Section, body, and then footer, light gray. Right? And so you can start seeing how, once you get used to this, it can go pretty fast. So, once I know, alright, I want to work in my font, I want to, for instance, my header, add some padding. Alright, and I gotta, me being new to this, remind myself, well, where do I do that? Right, here it is. And so maybe I want to do 5. So I'm clicking on this and putting in there. You'll see that it then gave that space, right? And that's the thing is, why I like to have this split view going is, if I decide that's exactly what I like, I can copy and paste and speed this process up by doing this over here. And then I can always go down here to apply source formatting to clean this up a bit. Alright, and so something up, see I went too fast, right? So I added that here where I want it under footer, not my footer tag, not under my body tag. See? And just like that, you could start to see, so now I just added an H1, and if I want to go over here, I click on Fun, I click on Plus, right? I have a habit of always making this as minimalist as I can, partly because I think I do smaller sites. So I hit Enter, and I'm going to go to Font, and I'm going to go to Color. I'm going to choose a blue. I'm going to click on my font family. All right, and let's go with something like that, and I could do a few other things here. I mean, but you get the basic idea here. Here, we'll do font size. Alright, so maybe I want to make, let's see what we think of extra large. So just like that, I've tried to give you a real basic idea of how to create a basic site and use the very basic elements of this CSS designer. Hopefully for those of you who are watching videos on Adobe CS6, because there's a lot of resources out there for that, and you're wondering, well, how do I use the same thing in Adobe Creative Cloud, right, and Adobe CC? Well, this goes through and gives you the basic idea. The steps are, you need to create your CSS file. Once you create it, you then need to make sure that you select it each time. Then choose your selector, and if you're on it, over here in Design View, it should show up, but you can always search and add it, right? And you hit, or more specifically, hit the plus sign, and then once that's, you should see the plus line to add some properties, and you can experiment and have fun. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.